At Burncoose Nurseries, we have been making the transition from peat to peat-free. Traditionally, our peat mixture has been mixed with 30% of composted wood chip and 70% peat. In July last year, we started running trials into 100% peat-free material and to see how our plants responded growing in them. Off the back of those trials, which produced pretty good results, we are aiming to grow all of our herbaceous plants this year in peat-free. And we're in the midst of potting everything up herbaceous wise in a couple of different types of peat-free mediums, and I'm just going to run you through quickly what they are. So we've got two mixtures here on the table. One is a green compost, which comes from a composting company about 10 miles down the road from us. Now, for me personally, I really want this mixture to work because I love the fact it's made just 10 miles down the road, so the amount of mileage that goes into producing it and bringing it here is really small. It's composted from garden material, so there's a whole lot of recycling. The whole recycling process goes into it, and I love the fact that it's material broken down over many months and made into something which can grow new plants again in the future. And the herbaceous plants that we've grown in this so far, and I'll show you the results of them shortly, have responded really well. They've rooted and they've put on lots of nice new growth. So this is looking quite promising as a mixture. The problems with this mixture is that it's made organically, so every batch can be different, and so there's a little bit of a risk for the nursery to pot thousands of plants up in a mixture which is not standardised each time, and that's a risk we're going to have to decide whether we are happy to go with. But so far the material has surprised us all, and we've produced some really lovely plants in it. And sometimes you'll even find when we do start sending them out well rooted, you'll find there may be the odd worm in there as well, which is of course wonderful for your soil in the garden, and it just goes to show that it really is just good healthy stuff that our plants are now being grown in, rather than the innate kind of sterile environment which is peat, which of course produces really good plants, and it has all of the characteristic and properties which enable and support healthy plant growth, but you won't really find worms and other beneficial microorganisms in our peat mixture. The other mixture is a more sort of standardised, it's from another composting company up the country, and they use wood chip, pine needles, leaf mould. They artificially pH correct it, and then you can add in some artificial fertiliser, which is also in the green mixture as well. But this is generally what most people in the horticultural industry are growing their peat-free plants in. So we know at least that if the green compost doesn't come good, we have this as a backup, and this is a good standard sterile mixture which can support growth of most plants which are not ericaceous, because it is the fact that ericaceous plants like acidic growing conditions, and peat-free tends not to provide those conditions. They tend to be around a 6.5 is probably the lowest you'll find a peat-free mixture, whereas ericaceous plants prefer something around a 5.5. So that's the sticking point with going peat-free, especially for a nursery like us, where we propagate many rhododendrons and camellias, and we grow kalmias, and lots of acidic loving plants, because of course it's not just the ericaceous plants that like acidic growing conditions. There's lots of other plants belonging to other plant families that prefer to have a growing soil pH of around a 5.5, which at the moment peat-free alternatives just can't really provide. So with the whole peat-free movement, which we're completely on board with here as a nursery, we're happy to grow everything that isn't acidic loving in peat-free, because we've proven to ourselves that that is absolutely achievable. But there is still a sticking point until we find, and the research continues, an alternative peat-free mixture that can support the growth of plants that prefer an acid loving soil condition. So that's enough of me sort of rabbiting on about that for a moment, and I will show you what the results are in our polytunnel. Here we are in our triple span polytunnel, where we grow a lot of our herbaceous plants. This year we have grown a lot of our plants in a peat-free mixture, which I explained about earlier, and we have been, the initial trials of which showed very promising results, and we have continued to see those promising results in this second phase of the trial, which we have tried on a large number of our herbaceous plants. So pretty much sort of 90% of our plants this year have been grown in the peat-free mixture, and this Achillea here just shows that it is possible. This is a lovely fibrous root system. The green growth is there. It's a really lovely healthy plant, and this was grown in our composted green material. Here we have another Dicentra, Spectabalus alba. Look at that. When you look at this, you would think it was grown in peat, but in fact it's grown in our peat-free mixture, and we've knocked them out. It's got a really lovely white healthy root system there. And this mixture is literally made 10 miles down the road from us. So there's not many air miles. It's made from recycled green material, and it's been put to good use to make this lovely, beautiful plant.